With your personal confuser. Don't whine, don't moan, don't yell. Just call for help. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.
We'll unveil one of Yoshi's favorite PC mods, plus the essential tools you need to start a modding project of your own. And we'll check this week's Tech Bargains with the real deal. Live from the Tech TV studios in San Francisco, it's the first night of Mod Week on the Screensavers.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Screensavers. I'm Patrick Norton.
And I'm Kevin Rose. Thanks for joining us on the Screensavers. This is the show that keeps you in close touch with the coolest stuff happening in the world of technology. Now, all this week is Mod Week on the Screensavers. That means we're going to show you some of the coolest mods, plus get tips from our mad modder, Yoshi. Speaking of Yoshi, can you give us a couple tips, Yoshi? What's a mod?
Well, you know, mod's taking anything that's one thing, like your computer, it could be anything, and changing it. You're modifying it. Short for modification. So it's like using your creativity. No one wants to, you know, that boring beige box syndrome.
So it could be painting, it could be customizing, it could be turning into a giant aardvark on wheels, but still being a PC.
You know, it's like that old expression, friends don't let friends use stock.
Got it.
We've got a cool mod on tonight's show.
We got some amazing mods.
Yeah.
Actually, we got some cool stuff coming all this week. Tonight, the owner of Pheaton.com, one of Yoshi's favorite modding sites, is here with his amazing mod. Plus, Yoshi's going to show you the tools you need to get started modifying your PC case, or pretty much anything else you might want to take tools to. And Foo is somewhere.
Yo, I'm looking forward to that mod. It's really cool.
It is cool.
I like that mod a lot. But hey, if you want to get a hold of us, the phone number is 888-989-7879. You can also email us at thescreensavers@techtv.com.
Thank you.
Back to you guys.
Excellent. Let's start off with the tech news that caught our eye today. Sarah has the first story.
Hello, gentlemen. German authorities arrested an 18-year-old man who has confessed to authoring the Sasser worm and all of its variants, as well as the Netsky virus. The twist is, the latest Sasser worm variant, Sasser E, that is not the real Sasser worm. Sasser E appeared shortly after the man was arrested. Timing suggests that the virus is maybe the product of a virus-writing network that exists outside of Germany.
Yeah. Or it could also be something we've watched for years. Is we've seen cases where people will see a virus and they'll tweak the code. I can't remember what the virus was, where somebody basically decided this was a horribly written virus, but a great idea, and basically rewrote all the, like, edited all of the code,
fix the problems,
and to make it. And it just, you can watch sort of like it's sort of this what a creative but not particularly effective attack. And then all of a sudden you watch the rewrite and it starts going nuts.
So how much did these guys get? Microsoft put up, what was it, $5 million, I believe, or
something crazy.
Do we know what the number was?
We'll find out. You know,
it's a lot of money.
It's a lot of bratwurst.
That's cool.
Yeah, we're going to find out what's going on with that. It'll be interesting also, but the virus is in the wild. The patches aren't being applied.
Right.
We'll see what happens next.
250,000 was what it was.
250,000.
Yeah. It's a lot of cash.
Not
All right. The Electronic Entertainment Expo, which of course is better known as E3, kicks off this week in Los Angeles. It's the largest gathering for the video game industry, and our own Joshua Brentano will be down in LA finding the best of the best coming out and passing the info on to you and me. Earlier reports say that Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo are all working to produce a new generation of consoles to succeed the Xbox, PlayStation 2, and GameCube. Sony's PSP, which is the PlayStation Portable, highly anticipated, and hopefully our Joshua will get a good, hard look at it.
That looks awesome.
I can't wait.
I want that PSP.
Yeah.
They say that's the iPod killer.
The iPod
That's what I've heard. And it plays games. It's going to have like little 1 gig cartridges, or
as
even
long as
more.
it doesn't use a memory stick.
Yeah.
Wait, is it going to use a proprietary 1 gig Sony cartridge?
Yes.
So it's going to be like compact flash, $43 for a gigabyte. Sony compact porta-medium, $273.
It's not going to be that much. It can't be that pricey. I don't know. We'll see. But it looks cool.
Sony memory lately?
I bought memory sticks in the past, and they have the new Memory Stick Pro now that offers like 1 gig of space. But
yeah,
this looks cool.
It looks cool, but you know what?
I've read the specs, and it sure beats the heck out of the Game Boy.
Let's see what happens. Let's get one in. Let's test it and see
it.
how it does. But hopefully Brentano actually comes back, because rumor has it he's going to basically get a console and hole up in a hotel room and disappear for
That's what I do.
It's a good idea. Thank you, Sarah.
Thanks, Sarah.
You're welcome. It's nice to have everybody back in one place.
Yay!
We've all been traveling last week.
Yeah, well, we were all actually, in case you didn't know, we were all in D.C. last week shooting segments that are going to come up later this month. I'd like to say a special hello to the National Security Agency.
That was fun.
It was.
Now, Matthew joins us on the phone. Matthew, where are you calling from?
Harrisburg, Virginia.
Nice. What can we help you out with?
All right, just first of all, like to say, great show, love it.
Thank you.
And I have a question about my website security. I have people constantly hacking into it, rewriting stuff on my website. Let's see, flooding it.
Matthew?
Patrick has a question.
I have a question, Matthew.
All right.
What is it on a host? Is it being hosted inside your house? What operating system is it running on? And what are you using as a web server?
All right. I'm hosting it from my house.
Okay.
All right. And what were the other two things I forgot?
What operating system are you using for a server?
Windows XP.
And are you using the IIS server, the built-in server in Windows XP?
I have no clue.
Okay. Did you install any web serving software to run your website?
No. I'm using FTP server.
Okay.
So you're just having a place where friends can come and download files from you?
Basically, yes.
Okay.
You've probably heard us once or twice talk on air about the fact that there are big, giant, gaping security holes in Windows XP?
Yeah.
Okay, and by hosting something like that inside of your home network, you are inviting everybody on the planet to come in and exploit the big, gaping holes in Windows XP.
Uh-oh.
That was funny. Are you running a firewall? Is your FTP service basically sitting outside on a firewall or a DMZ, Matthew?
No.
Okay.
So here's the question. One other question, a very important one. You said you were having really slow access time. What type of connection are you running on here? You have a nice broadband DSL or cable modem?
Cable.
Okay.
Do you know your up and down speeds by chance?
I have no clue.
Okay. Here's part of what happened, right? Your download speed on a cable modem or a DSL tends to be like this, big honking, like 384 kilobit or on up if you're using a cable modem. Your upload speed, i.e. your ability to upload data to a website or to serve information from your house is a little tiny pipe. It's a little tiny pipe over there rather than doing it here. The point is if you get 3 or 4 people trying to download simultaneously, you'll probably saturate any kind of an up connection you've got out of your house.
You can easily think that your site is getting attacked or getting bogged down. People can only download at 5K a second. Well, you might have 3 or 4 friends in your connection, and then it fills up your entire pipe. So home DSL and home cable modem is not a good idea for hosting a website. It's just not, because anytime you get past a certain threshold of users, it's going to completely bog down. Now, static web page is not that big a deal, especially if it's a really
little light HTML.
Little light HTML site.
But
past
MP3s, applications, larger files, big giant Photoshop projects, all this kind of stuff is definitely going to stuff your pipe going up from the server. On top of that, like we were saying before, you're not going to have the most robust firewall in your house, and you're not going to have the more, basically I'd say, look, you know what? You're going to need to restrict access, probably do a password-based FTP system. You're going to want to put the FTP server out on a DMZ if you can. If you don't know what that is, go to smoothwall.org and start learning about how to set up different zones for your network. Or if you have, are you running a router, Matthew?
Yes.
A hardware router?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, you just want to open up that specific port for FTP.
Right.
You don't want to put them on the DMZ because then he's completely open to the world. Just that one FTP port. Now, what are you sharing, just out of curiosity?
Sharing videos. I write tutorials for such as HTML tutorials, Photoshop tutorials.
That's cool.
And stuff like that.
I would say his website on the air, but there's no way it's going to survive on the onslaught.
It would be really cool for about a parsec, and then you'd basically be trying to figure out why you couldn't do anything.
There'd be like 5 people that got it and be like, yeah, it's a cool site. Everybody else would be locked out.
Yeah, I would really think, Matthew, about trying to find a way to host it outside of your house, to restrict the access to it by basically making people log in for the FTP. To be honest with you, it's probably less of a hacker situation than simply not having much bandwidth to work with, Matthew.
I have infinite bandwidth. My hosting plan came with unlimited bandwidth.
Unlimited bandwidth.
Yes.
So are you hosting the website in your house?
Yes, I am managing the website from my house.
And your cable company says you have infinite bandwidth going upstream.
No, my host for my website.
Right. Well, okay. So what we're saying here is
I'm saying 2 different things. He's got a website, an FTP server then? Or?
Yeah, because right now I'm saying, like, is the website in your house? And you're going, yes. And then I'm asking you how much bandwidth you have, and you say your host is infinite and it's outside of your house. Do you understand? Does the website live on a host site somewhere out on the Internet, Matthew?
I would guess so, yeah.
Okay. We're a little confused here. It's
Yeah, I'm a
getting
little
complicated.
confused too.
So let me ask one last question before we go, Matthew. Are you having trouble uploading stuff, FTPing stuff to your remote host?
Yes. Sometimes it'll say the remote user could not process or something like that.
How much are you paying for your monthly infinite bandwidth host?
$8 a month.
$8 a month.
It might be time. Yeah,
Microsoft should move all their servers there. That's cheap.
Yeah, it sounds. What we have here is not a failure to communicate, but more of a you need to find a better host, Matthew. I think that'll probably solve a lot of your problems. It may cost you a little bit more monthly, but I think it'll eliminate a lot of the problems. Because infinite bandwidth at $8 a month, it just doesn't happen in this plane of existence. So, time to search around for a new host, Matthew. If you look on the website, you actually put together some of your favorite hosting sites.
We have links in there. I've hosted a bunch of different websites.
You've tested like half the
I've tested all of them out there, and maybe I'll have to move to that $8 host though. That sounds good.
Tempting. Good luck, Matthew.
Thanks for the call, Matthew.
We're just getting started. Yoshi's going to show you the tools you need to start along your way in modding madness. And after the break, it's Mod Week. Meet one of Yoshi's favorite modders. We're going to unveil Lord Pheaton's eye-popping Scarab PC mod. It's all coming up when the Screensavers continues.
Our first guest is an avid modder that runs Pheaton.com, a helpful modding network community. He's on Yoshi's top modder list, and he's here now to show us his awesome Scarab PC mod. We'd like to welcome Gareth Powell, a.k.a. Lord Pheaton. Hey, Gareth. How you doing? Pretty good. So here it is. Let's unveil it and take a look at the Scarab PC. Ooh, that's awesome. How did you come about building this project?
Actually, it was a commission project by the Intel Corporation. Basically, we had about a month to come up with something, and me and my assistant Travis, we came up with a drawing of it, and then we took it from there and decided to build it. It's constructed of fiberglass, and basically the shape itself was originally hand carved out of foam. Then we used a Bondo epoxy and sanded it down to make the shell.
So this is like after a scarab beetle, like an old Egyptian beetle.
Yes, basically the design was it was kind of an organic shape. So what we decided to do is take that and then take elements from the scarab beetle and put them more into the spine and the different areas of the case.
So you said Intel commissioned this work. Did they come to you and they say, we want you to build a mod for us, or they actually give you the parts for this?
Yeah, what they did is they gave us a certain amount of money to make them a case to display at one of their technology shows. I'm not the only one who's done this. There's been several other people who have been involved in this little program that they do, because they're very supportive of the modding community in that way. And this was one of the projects that they needed in quick time. It actually took 10 days from finishing it and completion.
Wow. 10 days to turn around the entire project?
Yeah. 10 days. Once we had the design down, it took 10 days to build.
Wow. So tell me about the paint job. I mean, this is the most impressive part of it. That's amazing. How did you create this paint job? Where did you come up with the design?
Actually, I did not do the paint job because of the time constraints. I had a painter. His name's Rick Primo in Los Angeles. He painted it for me. I basically gave him the colors I wanted, and he came up with all the designs. The paint itself is actually the blue is several different paints, and it uses a saran wrap effect. That effect itself, from there, creates more of this like lightning effect, and then it was airbrushed on top of it to give it emphasis.
Nice. Now tell me about the power button here. You actually have a Pentium 4 processor?
Yeah, this is actually...
that's non-working.
Now it is. It was actually fully functioning until it got dropped.
Right.
And we decided to incorporate that into the design along with the socket. And it's the power switch. It's the only control on the unit.
Cool. So show me the inside. Can we take this off? So you're... Fit a mini, is this a mini ATX case in here, or motherboard?
Actually, no, it's the Shuttle XPC small form factor.
Okay.
Basically what I did is I took it, mounted it down, and I wanted to put a full-size graphics card in it because the onboard graphics isn't that great on this one.
They normally aren't.
So I just used a 90-degree riser, A-side riser, and then I could mount it on. It's a full gaming rig at a 3 gigahertz processor.
I was going to say, you put a huge NVIDIA graphics card in here. Now, most of the mods that I've seen in the past, they tend to go with the ATI side of things because they have smaller graphics cards. Did you find that that to be a consideration when you were building this?
When you're working with the confines of an SSX case, the dual size heatsinks is a lot harder to use with. In this design, because of the fact it was, instead of being linear in the aspect of standing up, it was going to be on flat, I didn't have the constraints on it. The design itself made the constraints on being able to stand any video card in this one up, so I knew ahead of time that I was going to use a riser.
Right. Nice. So tell me about the power supply. Is this, now, you know these video cards just suck. The power out. I mean, normally you would have a 400 or 500 watt power supply in a desktop PC. How many watt power supply is this here?
That one is actually only a 200 watt power supply.
How can it power it without, you would normally get reboots and things like that happening?
Actually, no, it doesn't. The power supply is actually really well made because it's only got a single hard drive in it. It's got the video card and then the processor. It doesn't have the same draw as a desktop system. I don't have 2 or 3 hard drives in it or 2 or 3 drives. So just running on the core system, it runs just fine.
Very, very basic. Now, how about the CPU fan underneath? Did you use a stock CPU cooler?
No, actually I didn't. I used a Dynatron. It's a 1U copper heatsink with an 180 degree blower on it. This evacuates the air this way, and with the cooling system I designed with it, the air convects around it, comes in the one fin, and then goes out the other. And this one on the video card actually just adds turbulence to it.
Nice. So tell me about your website. You have a huge message board area where people actually go to learn about modding.
Yeah.
How did you create this, and when did you get into this?
About May of 2001, I started doing Pheaton.com. There was, at that time, not many resources for people with modding and modification in the community. Knowing this, I designed a forum that was based strictly on modding and giving it different categories and everything. And after about 8 to 10 months, Barry Collins came around and he came up with the work log. And from there I developed a forum, a category just for those, and that's when the work log thing came about. It was actually his idea that was born on my website. I'm grateful for, obviously, but now it's one of the best things about modding is learning side by side as people are building.
So now this is something that you do full-time for a living.
Yes,
I know there's so many kids out there that are like, I'd love to mod full-time. How do you turn this into a full-time gig?
It's very, very hard to do. I've been working with this for about the last 4 years with the website and then doing things for clients like Intel and other companies, and even people who just want like Windows and stuff put in their case, but they just don't want that stock solution. From there, I've also actually gone to writing for magazines like CPU Magazines, where I've been working with them for several months. And in fact, upcoming, we have my next case project, which is going to take part over the next 3 months.
So you're going to feature that in CPU Magazine?
Yeah, you'll see it built from the design all the way to the final build.
Can you tell us about it yet?
Yeah, it's actually a pretty simple design. It uses an open airflow architecture. It has these kind of spiky spines that go across the back in kind of an arc shape. And that way it's very quiet. There's no noise from fans. And the design itself just looks really cool. It's something I really wanted to build, and it's the most ambitious thing I've ever done.
Awesome. Excellent. Well, we look forward to that. CPU Magazine, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and your website is, of course, Pheaton.com. Pheaton.com. So you're telling me there's several different ways to say it.
Yeah, a lot of people tend to pronounce it Pheaton because it's actually spelled P-H-E-A, not A-E. For reasons that are really long and complicated, I switched the 2 letters.
Nice. So. Well, we have the link at the website if they have any problems typing in. Thanks for being on the show. We appreciate it. You can read Gareth's detailed how-to article at thescreensavers.com. Now, still to come, Yoshi pulls out his Modders Toolkit to show you all the tools you need to create a modding masterpiece. And up next, our next caller is having some monitor frame rate problems. We'll help him out when the Screensavers continues.
LAN party powered by NVIDIA. Everybody go get your copy of Unreal Tournament 2004 and practice, because we're playing it in our LAN party. There are 45 of your favorite maps from Unreal Tournament and UT2K3 and 50 brand new maps to frag on. There are 9 vehicles, 17 weapons, 32 new characters, voice over IP built into the game so you can talk while you kill, and even a way to broadcast your game so people can watch the mayhem. Go to our website and click on Join Our LAN Party to register. You must own the full version of Unreal Tournament 2004 to play. We'll see you this Thursday for the Screensavers LAN Party. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Sarah.
I had to pick up a copy. I'm going to have to start practicing for the game. It's coming up on Thursday. Have you been practicing?
Not a lick.
Oh, dude, you got to fire it up.
I will. Just as soon as I get my homework done.
Okay.
Steven joins us on the phone from Port Jefferson, New York.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Hey, Steven.
How about yourself?
Good.
My question is going to probably sound kind of strange to you guys because I'm sure most people probably call you up asking to increase their frame rate.
Mm-hmm.
I actually want to decrease it.
When you say frame rate, are you talking about for a video game, or are you talking about the refresh rate? What's the problem you're trying to solve here?
When I ever videotape someone in front of a computer,
right,
you always get that flicker coming from the monitor.
That really beautiful series of stripes that go up.
And I was told that was because the frame rate of the computer was too fast for the video.
You're confusing frame rate and refresh rate. Now, you notice right behind us, right, you don't see that beautiful, horrible, vicious, strobing action.
Exactly.
If we turn there's a reason we have all LCDs on the set, is they'll basically run at 60 hertz, right? And that's relatively in sync with your video camera. If you run at higher refresh rates, i.e. any refresh rate where your eyeballs don't want to crawl out of your face screaming after you stare at the monitor for 10 minutes, you know what I mean? Because like 60 hertz on anything other than LCD is incredibly painful to look at.
It drives my eyes crazy.
Here's what you do, right? Check it out. You're going to right-click on the desktop.
Okay.
Okay, you're going to go to Properties. Now, you got Properties, you're going to go over to Settings, and we got the fabulous Display Properties windows, and you're going to go to Advanced. And you're going to wait for Advanced to open. Now, depending on how it's set up, usually under the monitor it'll give you something that says Screen Refresh Rate. Now, it's probably going to say something reasonably humane that's much higher than this, like 120 hertz or 170 hertz or whatever it happens to be for your monitor, and that's going to vary with the screen resolution. And what you're going to want to do is basically drop that down to 60 hertz. You know, hit Apply. And then basically videotape something, and chances are that scrolling, horrible, stripey thing in the background will be gone.
Great.
On high-end beta cameras, they basically would have us, when they're shooting handheld cameras, a lot of times they actually have the ability to tune the camera to the refresh rate of that. But generally speaking, going to 60 hertz, if you got 50 grand, it's a really nice way to solve the problem.
We run into this problem all the time, though, because we're constantly going on field shoots and things of that nature, and people are running at all different monitor hertz rates. So all we do is just set to 60 hertz, and it fixes it right away.
Pretty much. Like, if that doesn't solve it, something's truly, horribly, and desperately wrong. And you know what? Carry an LCD to the shoot with you. So, yeah, buy an LCD and spend a bunch of money, or change the refresh rate to 60 hertz.
Great.
Okay, Stephen?
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Thanks for the call, Stephen.
No problem.
Now here's Sarah with a quick tip.
Thank you, fellas. Kevin's shown us Knoppix. That's a Linux distro that you can boot from CD. But guess what? You can do the same thing with Windows. Head on over to thescreensavers.com/show notes. Read Patrick Norton's fun-filled article to get the links and tips on how to create a Windows bootable CD. We all need it, so let's do it. Also, check their forums for even more help. Now, don't go anywhere, because Leo's going to join us with a quick tip to help you block AIM messages using your router. And after the break, Yoshi shows you how to start hacking up your own technology. It's crazy when the Screensavers continues.
Coming up in this half hour, we scoured the weekend circulars to find the best deals for you, and you know what? They were all online, so that's where we're going to be looking at them. And we're going to tell our next caller, Bryan, if his email is being used by spammers for nefarious spam purposes. Now, it's time for a somber moment on the Screensavers. Modding is not a black art. As a matter of fact, it's not very difficult to execute at all. As any spray painter, actually, see anybody who's dropped a tag on a wall will tell you can mod anything with a can of spray paint in a dream. The most important part of modding is your mind, but there are some tools you're going to need. Yoshi's here to show us what's up. Yosh! Oh, give him a bell.
You gotta love the audience.
All right, now be quiet, otherwise the people at home can't hear him. We love you.
The tools really are basic. Most of them are tools. I like to say the majority will be tools you might have just for doing stuff around the house. You're going to need a bunch of screwdrivers.
Always a plus.
If you're going to change a video card, you're going to need a Phillips screwdriver at least. You know, you got to have some screwdrivers. You're going to need a bunch of different pliers, wire strippers. The one tool I would recommend as far as pliers go is get yourself a real nice honking set of vertical diagonal cutters.
Right.
Because
like
these little guys,
pliers in your
you're going to
left
destroy
hand.
these little guys instantly.
These 2 or 3 wires that disintegrate. They're amazing, actually.
And that's almost invaluable. Nice little set of sockets, a quarter inch is all you need, and get them pretty cheaply. Sometimes you need nut drivers, or you might want to secure something to your case, because you're not going to go on the standard path here.
What's with the big stack of ignition files and mill
micro files? I mean, you're going to want a bunch of different kind of files around, different shapes, different sizes. Sometimes you might want to just clean up something that you cut with your Dremel. You need to get in there to corner with a little tiny file to clear it up.
Excellent.
So it helps that. Of course,
Wiring means
soldering.
We like soldering.
We like soldering, and along with your soldering iron, you're going to want to get a solder sucker or a desolderer. You know, it's a little vacuum guy.
Do you like that better than using desoldering tape?
I do.
Okay.
It's I find it a little more effective. The tape actually sometimes you have to use because you can't get at it with the solder.
If you've never taken solder off of like a board or something, essentially you heat it up till it's liquid, and then you either put the tape on it, and the tape wicks it out. You can actually use an old piece of wire. In that case, you get this horrible slurping noise as it sucks 400 degrees solder off of a board and into the vacuum inside of there. It's fun stuff.
Looks very good. Nice.
Blades.
You need the blades. Average utility knives are always good. I'm not going to cut myself. Don't worry.
I'm not worried about you getting cut.
Exactos. I'd pick up a couple different size Exactos because you're going to want to have different kind of blades. It makes it real handy if you're cutting like masks for painting, that kind of thing.
Is that earplugs and a flashlight?
These are earplugs. I invested in like a really nice set of
those are molded to your skull.
These are custom molded. These cost me $20. They're not expensive.
Okay.
You can, these are meant for like really, really, really loud, like machinery, motorcycles, shooting, whatever. So very worthwhile. A lighter, and a soldering iron. The lighter, if you got like a little quick piece of heat shrink you need to shrink down, lighter works great. Little solder, a little micro torch works good too. Rulers, got to measure stuff.
Yeah, we can't draw a straight line.
You want a square because you're going to want to have a right angle on times, and I can't draw a right angle perfectly. Glues, super glue, epoxy, good set of soldering iron, the Dremel.
Your favorite modding tool.
Rotary cutters, get a whole bunch of different stuff, bits and all kinds of attachments for them. And of course, along with the rotary cutter, you're going to need a drill because you're going to be drilling holes in the side of a case, and you're not going to want to sit there with a Dremel, cutting it out real small. I actually recommend getting a corded drill, just so you have the power. The cordless ones are fun and nice, but sometimes you're going to want to use it a lot, and you don't want to stop down every 10 minutes and recharge it.
Yeah, unless we're going to get like an 18-volt one and have 3 battery packs laying around.
Exactly.
Do you use any special diamond carbide drills?
I just get a good set of bimetal blades, so that way I can drill through plastic or metal. Lexan, you're really going to want specialized bits anyway, so they're not going to work too great for that. Assortment of heat shrink tubing. You can get heat shrink pretty cheap, so it's something good to have around. A lot of different kinds of tape. The gaffer's tape or racer's tape, as some may call it. Some, double-sided tape, some masking tape, so you can use it to mark things out or just to protect surfaces. A little vise, and of course, heat gun. If you're going to be doing any plastic bending, that kind of thing, or a lot of heat shrink.
So if you do a lot of wiring inside your system?
Yeah, a lot of wiring. It's nice to have some old plastic cups around with some the good old popsicle stick stirrers for mixing epoxies or
because
Bondo
you'll never get
or
epoxy off
fiberglass resin or any of that kind of stuff.
Never ever use mom's cutlery to mix epoxy, kids.
I used the nice china once, and that didn't turn out too well.
Yeah. How long was it before you were allowed to leave the house again? Do you like the vise, the mobile sort of switchy vise?
I love having, I have a lot of different vices. I use this little one a lot because a lot of the projects you're going to work on are pretty small, so you can get it in there, and it's easy to transport. You're not carrying around a big 100-pound vise with an anvil on it.
That would be bad.
And lots of sandpaper. You're going to lose lots of sandpaper. Just get
lots of smooth
big
edges.
Variety packs.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a big thanks to Yoshi. And to find out more about tools for modding, check out the article he's got up at thescreensavers.com. Good stuff, man. Ladies and gentlemen, let's check in with Leo for a quick game tip. Leo!
Hey, let me tell you a little bit about my problems. It's my problem time. I have a daughter, 12-year-old daughter, who lives on Instant Messenger. Now, we have a deal, Abby and I. She can't chat with her friends until she's done her homework. And she agrees to that, but sometimes, she slips. She's sitting at the computer. They barge in. It's hard not to chat with them. So I want to show you how you can block aim at the router. This will work for a lot of other instant messengers. You just need to find out what port those instant messengers use. Now, if you've got one of these internet routers, it's really simple. This is a Linksys, and I'll show you how to do it with a Linksys. But it's pretty straightforward. Once you get the idea, you can do it with almost any router. I'm going to log into my Linksys administration tool. Whoops. This is, of course, what Linksys uses to configure it. Now, this is where you can block individual ports. You click the Advanced tab. There's 2 settings here. Now, filtered means you can actually knock an entire computer off the Internet. If I know my daughter is on 100 or 110, if I said yes to this, it would actually block her off the Internet. I don't want to do that. I'm just going to block her off of AIM. So I'm going to block TCP/IP port 5190. That's the one that AIM uses to set up a connection. So if this is blocked, if this port is blocked, AIM can't get out. It can't talk to the outside world. It just won't work. Now, the problem with this, the downside is it blocks it on all computers on the network. However, in this case, that's a small price to pay. Some routers may allow you to block it just for individual computers. $51.90 to block AIM. Check your instant messenger to find out which port to block for yours. And good luck with your homework and your daughters and sons. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Leo. Ladies and gentlemen, one thing we forgot to remind you of, safety glasses. See, you can do things like this with a hot iron and not hurt yourself. Leo, good stuff. Stay where you are.
Not heat classes.
Not heat classes?
No,
But I
debris.
just poked it at my eyeball. Anyhow, have Spammer received our next caller's email? It didn't hurt. We're here to investigate. Don't do what I do, kids. It's stupid. But up next, we're going to check out this week's online tech bargains with the real deal. Coming up when the Screensavers continues. Are you sure they don't? I think they're about to attack. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's time now. Well, normally we'd give you the latest newspaper tech ads from the Sunday, but you know what? It's May. Nobody's advertising. There was like a
So there was nothing good this morning?
There was not. You know what? There's nothing we haven't covered. If you're looking for hard drive bargains, they're out there. If you're looking for bargains on, thumb drives, they're out there.
Right.
If you want to buy 80 CDs, 2 for $15 at any of a number of fine establishments, but you found some great stuff online.
Yeah, I was going through a different. Well, you came to me this morning and said I have nothing in the.
There's nothing in the tech ads this weekend.
In the tech ads. So I went online, I did a little searching, and we found some great deals.
This is cool. Computer Geeks Discount Outlet. Check this out.
I like this.
The standalone 2-bay beige CD duplicating case with power supply.
So,
care to explain what that is?
What you do is you have to go out there and you have to get one of the supported drives.
Right.
So you have to find a CD burner, CDRW drive, and you slide them in, you install them yourself, and once you do, it's going to make a standalone CD duplication unit.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's $50. You slide those drives in, and then when you push the button, it's going to do one-to-one copies for you.
Very nice. And actually, it looks like they have the drives links here, like BenQ and a bunch of other brands, about $37. So probably for $120,
yeah,
you can have one-touch CD burning.
That's cool. I like that.
That's awesome.
It's nice for software publishers that send out CDs or things like that. Or if you burn a lot of CDs and you're tired of swapping them all out every single time or firing up your burning application, you just press the button and it's done.
Up next,
I actually have this enclosure. This is an external hard drive enclosure by CoolMax. It works great. It's perfect. All you have to do, $35. You buy a hard drive, or you might have an existing hard drive in an old computer that you're not using, and you want to, use it for something else, maybe to back up your documents and store them offsite.
We love backing up with external drives.
Just pop it right in. It slides right in, locks down. You screw it down. This one's USB 2.0, I believe.
Yes.
USB 2.0. You plug it right in, and you have access to an external hard drive enclosure. It's super easy to do. No drivers or anything required.
We like that. Finally, batteries.
Yes. You want to talk about this one?
Well, you know what? A lot of stuff we find. This is one for Circuit City. They're doing this crazy. It's like 48 AA batteries for $9.99. We saw at the front of CompUSA this weekend. They were doing these huge packages of batteries. And normally I buy like Evereadys or Duracells. Right. Home Depot is like the best place to buy batteries because they've always got bricks of 24 or 48 for nothing.
IKEA bricks of like 100.
Yeah, but the IKEA batteries, like IKEA, great for candles, great for cheap furniture, but the batteries I think tend to be a little short on the life.
Who knows? I mean,
our lab at once actually did a full roundup and they compared like every major brand of battery.
That'd be cool.
That's actually.
I'd like to check out that article.
One.
Yeah.
That would be. Well, it's funny. We should get them to do another one and see if we can get the Panasonic batteries
versus
the IKEA batteries
versus Walmart and all the others.
Bob's brand of batteries. Here's the thing though: is you know what? If you burn through batteries a lot, if you're not going to be environmentally conscious and use rechargeables, you slimy dog, you. Then hey, at least get them cheap and get them directly to the landfill.
48 of them.
Possible. That's a good price. 48 batteries for $9.99. Yeah. That's an excellent price.
Cool.
Ladies and gentlemen, head over to thescreensavers.com. Click on the show notes to see the links to the stuff we talked about here, along with our witty and charming commentary.
Excellent. Now, coming up after the break, Bryan's on the line, and he's thinking his email was hijacked.
Uh-oh.
We'll help him track it down right after these messages.
Be sure to catch tomorrow's show, ladies and gentlemen. Mod Week continues with a classy retro mod known as the Machine Age. Plus, Yoshi takes a totally geeked out car for a spin around San Francisco. And Sarah shows you how to make your XP desktop a 3D spear. That's all on tomorrow's fine blended edition of the Screensavers.
But now, Bryan joins us on the phone from Dallas, Texas.
Hey, Bryan.
How's it going?
Good.
How are you?
I'm all right.
Weather nice where you're at?
It's getting hot.
Getting hot?
Yeah.
That's good. Is it cold winter?
I'm sorry?
Just on this whole weather conversation, I bet you have a vaguely technical question.
I do. The question is, I keep getting a bunch of return mail, message failure notices, stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
And when I look at the subject lines, it's things like meds for you, order intimacy meds, stuff that I didn't send.
Yeah.
So you're not in the spamming business then?
No.
Okay.
Not selling Viagra in your spare time, anything like that?
Not yet.
There's good money in that.
That's what they tell me.
There's good money.
Well, there's a couple things. One of the things we've noticed is some of the more nefarious worms that we've run into lately. They kind of like you double-click on an attachment and invade your system. One of the things they do is they'll actually, instead of using your email address or somebody else's, they'll basically send out fake emails off of everybody's, basically everybody you've got in your address book. They'll start sending out fake emails. And if you're in somebody else's address book, which you probably are since you seem to actually use email, then you'll find out, all sorts of nefarious stuff will be running around that you had no involvement in sending. One. Two, here's a weird question. Would it be, open relays, what kind of POP server or mail server is your ISP using, Bryan?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Because the other thing, somebody could be spoofing your email address, and if you have a particularly accessible server. Well, who's your ISP, Bryan?
It's Comcast.
It's Comcast.
Yeah, well, what they can do is one second. What they can do is they can put his name in the reply to address, so that the spammer could send out 200,000 emails that came from your address, even though, and then these start bouncing. People get upset and they start writing back to that address,
or they try to they call their local ISP. They say they're getting spam,
and then it comes back
Bryan,
to you,
and then they call Comcast, and Comcast asks you what you're doing. I mean,
now there's not a whole lot you can do about this right now. Fortunately, SendMail, which is the largest mail provider out there, and Microsoft and Yahoo and all these groups have just recently gotten together, and they're coming out with a caller ID system for email. And basically how it's going to work is that every time a message gets sent out with a particular email address, it will go back and check with those DNS servers and check and make sure the IP address associated with the email address is actually valid and allow that mail to go through. It's an anti-spam initiative that these companies are getting together to form, and this will stop things just like what's happening to Bryan.
Yeah, I mean, basically, when we say your email address is being spoofed, it essentially means somebody's faking or pretending to be you, and they do that for the purposes of taking advantage, usually, of a mail relay, or just because it's easier to send email if there's a return address, right? It may be somebody's idea of a practical joke about getting around some of the anti-spam legislation that the feds have put out. There has to be a return address. Does it say in the federal legislature it has to be a legitimate return address? That'd be kind of a funny legal loophole to look at.
Yeah, it does say it has to be a legitimate return address. But
you could contact, if you want to, you could contact your ISP and let them know that someone seems to have stolen your email address and see whether or not there's anything they can do. If nothing else, it gives them a heads up so that if they have a bunch of ISPs hammering, for your blood and your email address and your access, that at least they know something was going on.
Yeah, you definitely want to let them know, because if they think you're sending out spam, they'll shut down your account. So let them know, and also, for the time being, just set up some filters. Look at what the message headers are, who they're coming from, the contents of the message, and then just throw them into a spam folder for the time being, and they'll go away with time.
All right.
But unfortunately, you're going to be on a lot more lists, and you're going to start getting other messages. Now's a good time to get a friend and sign up for a Gmail account.
Yeah, find a new email address, because your life's going to be really frustrating in a couple months.
Yeah.
Fun.
I'm sorry?
That sounds like fun.
Yeah, you know what? It happens sometimes. The other thing is if you keep up on your spam filters, get a good Bayesian filter installed on that, you can probably ride out the frustrating, because you're probably going to get nuked with a lot of spam.
Okay.
But good luck with that, Bryan. Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Like Kevin said, talk to your ISP, let them know what's going on.
Yeah.
All right.
Good stuff.
Yep. Thanks for the call, Bryan. Now let's check in with Dan for a quick helpful tip.
Thank you, Kevin. Gadget lovers, you're going to love our Digital Digs Roadshow. But guess what? You also get to meet our very own Dark Tipper and Petite Tipper, Kevin Rose and Sarah Lane. Now, the Roadshow hits the Cool Springs Galleria in Hex Court in Franklin, Tennessee on May 15th and 16th. And the event runs from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. on Saturday and noon to 5 on Sunday. And for more information and to learn about all the coast-to-coast stops of the Roadshow, go to techtv.com/digitaldigs. Very simple. Now, stay where you are. We're going to check our inbox, check the emails, see what's on your mind. All that when the Screensavers comes back.
It's that time,
Sarah, do you have any emails?
I sure do. The first one comes from Blake. Says, I want to buy a new computer for gaming because I'm stuck with my dad's and it sucks. I'm wondering what processor would be better, AMD Athlon 64 3000 Plus or a P4 3 gigahertz?
They're both great processors. The P4 is going to cost you about $211, give or take, and the AMD Athlon is going to cost you around $100. You could spend $100 left, get roughly the same performance, and have a lot more graphics card for the money. That's the way I'd go.
Yeah, I always like to support the underdog. I like AMD. I like the fact that it's 64-bit. There's a new version of Windows, the 64-bit edition, which they say is going to be in the last quarter of this year.
I wouldn't hold my breath on that one. Yeah, the other thing, I mean, it'll come out, but your video games won't take advantage of it until like 2 more years.
But still, it's nice to have the future upgradability.
In which case, you'd probably be better off looking at an Athlon 64 chip. And,
isn't that what he said, the Athlon 64 3000 Plus? Yeah.
Well, definitely get the Athlon 64 3000 Plus. In which case, though, you're going to spend a lot more money than $117.
Yeah.
Probably be about $200 to $200. Cool.
All right, you heard it here. The next one comes from Dean. I have a Netgear RP114 router. I've lost my password and I want to upgrade the firmware. What can I do?
There's almost every home router has a reset button on it, and yes, yours does. So, either look around for the little button that's unlabeled on the back. Or
it'll be a little tiny hole.
Yeah.
You'll normally have to use something like a paper clip and open it up and then push it in, maybe hold it in for a few seconds. It'll reset it. And then you'll be able to use the default username and password that's shipped with the unit.
Yeah. It's going to wipe out all your settings inside of there, so be aware of that. Sometimes there's a backdoor password, but it's usually better to just wipe it in hardware and start all over. Cool.
Okay, next one comes from Zach. I'd like to download MP3s, but I don't know which sites are the best and which ones are legal. Can you please tell me which site is the best choice for my downloading needs?
I like Kazaa. I think that's a great...
Yeah. No, that's not what he asked.
Oh, legal.
Generally speaking, if you don't pay money for your MP3 files and you're not downloading from a record label site or a band site or somebody's personal site that is in the band, generally speaking, if you're paying no money for the files, they're probably not legal. So, now that we've said that, the Russian site's pretty fascinating.
Yeah, right. It's like $3.
It's amazing. A bunch of people have been testing it out. It's almost like it's a bait and switch because nobody's had any problems with it. They have different copyright laws in the.
I don't know if I'd trust that.
Well,
I'm not giving my credit card for some $3 Russian site.
Well, if you can get
nothing against Russian.
This is one of those moments where it's great to have a credit card with a. We'd like to apologize.
No, I'm not trying to.
Yeah, but you're saying it's one of the things. If it's a website in some part of the universe you normally don't buy stuff from, generally speaking,
they can sometimes be fly-by-night operations all over the world.
I mean, imagine if they can manage to get hundreds of thousands of users in America to use it, and then run one giant credit card scam and roll the money all over into a Swiss bank account. That would be horrible. On the flip side, if you use a credit card with a fairly low credit limit, like a couple $300, which is what you should be doing with online purchases if you're truly paranoid, you're pretty well protected. Yeah. But, iTunes is great.
They give one free song a day now or something like that, or once a week,
Yeah, check out iTunes. Walmart's doing it. I mean, everybody in the planet is putting up a music service. Yeah,
I hate the Walmart idea. Who buys their music from Walmart?
Almost 25% of the continental United States.
Sure, but not on my music.
Well, give them time.
Yeah, I don't know.
10 cents or 11 cents less per file.
That's true.
It's a little scary. Anyhow, we got to go, folks.
That's it for this edition of the Screensavers. I'm Kevin Rose.
And I'm Patrick Norton. Thanks for joining us. We'd like to thank our guest, Gareth Powell.
See you next time.
Have a great night.
Good night.
And if you don't like it, go to Russia.